All right, good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Let's start seated. So, one of the books that I highly recommend during times of challenge or at any time at all, we were talking about this last night's class, The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself by Michael Singer. It talks a lot about the need to practice letting go in terms of releasing our resistance to whatever is happening, whatever experience is coming our way, as a means of finding inner freedom, inner peace. And that's a constant journey in itself as we evolve in self-awareness and how to perceive what's going on. Here is a paragraph from the book. You truly can reach a state in which you never have any more stress, tension, or problems for the rest of your life. You just have to realize that life is giving you a gift, and that gift is the flow of events that takes place between your birth and your death. These events are exciting, challenging, and create tremendous growth. To comfortably handle this flow of life, your heart and mind must be open and expansive enough to encompass reality. The only reason they're not is because you resist. Learn to stop resisting reality, and what used to look like stressful problems will begin to look like the stepping stones of your spiritual journey. Now, if we're not in a very joyful mood this morning, that might not sound so encouraging, but let's take it breath by breath through the practice. This focus on how we take a look at what presents itself in our bodies from pose to pose, what presents ourselves in our minds through our subconscious beliefs that become unraveled as we hold our bodies in a place for a little bit longer, and sometimes places of challenge or discomfort. Sometimes I'll get into a pose and right away I'll be like, ooh, I just want to get out right now. But can we take a moment to breathe to it, through it, and not push ourselves in an unkind way, but rather with compassion, allow a listening ear from our heart, from a place of soul, to really tune into what are those things that are coming up and how can I use them as stepping stones for evolving self-awareness, for evolving resilience, the ability to find peace amidst whatever. So let's start in a grounding position here, coming down to child's pose. So bringing your feet together to touch towards the rear of your mat. Feel free to separate your knees as wide apart as it allows your pelvis to drop down to your feet. Then do begin by stretching your arms forward so that your arms are straight, the elbows are lifted off the ground. And then separating your hands at least as wide apart as your shoulders. Maybe close your eyes and just pay more attention to your breathing. When we start to resist mentally, the breath can start to shorten. So I invite you to stay attuned to any shifts in your breath as the slightest indicators of resistance happening. And rather than berating ourselves or criticizing our bodies, allow those signals to be friends that are part of our team of informing us as we move through and digest. And now as you begin to reach the fingertips more actively forward, drawing the shoulders and hips back, feel the length along the sides of your torso and take a deeper inhalation. Allow the four walls of your ribcage to expand as you lengthen through your neck. And then open the mouth, big sigh, release the breath. This time I invite you to take a deeper inhale and holding the breath in, scrunch up the face a bit. Feel that tension in the face. Maybe the eyes squint, maybe the jaw hardens a bit. And then really big release, open the mouth, ha. Again, inhale deeply, maybe tense up the glutes and the belly. Just recognize that feeling. And then open the mouth, really relax.
And now find a balance between those contrasts of complete undoing and complete holding. As you begin to swim through the sound of the breath in and out. Coming forward onto all fours, parallel your shins so that your knees are under your hips. Step your wrists a couple inches ahead of your shoulders and start to breathe into cow, lifting the chest and rolling the shoulders back and down, closing the lips, softly narrow the back of your throat as you exhale into cat, contracting the belly and rounding the back as you drop the skull. Find your way through a few more motions of the spine, whether more cat-cows like this, or just any organic movement that you know your body needs to do right now. Cultivating a deep awareness of breath. Your inner space physically, and your inner space mentally. As you widen the fingers, spread firm down between your thumbs and index as the index fingers face forward parallel to each other. So that on your next exhale, you can tuck your toes, lift your hips up into downward facing dog, and then take a few more breaths if you want to pedal your feet or any kind of shifting here in the body. Maybe shaking and nodding your head gently. Feel the neck unwind, the skull hang heavily. Feel your weight throughout your hands, rooting down through every knuckle as you rebound that weight to lift your shoulders back away from the neck. Lift your hips back away from the hands. Maybe even bending the knees a lot in the beginning to really fully lengthen the spine. And then let's hold still for about 3 breaths in Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Allow your triceps to roll towards the ground so that you're broadening your shoulder blades across your back ribs. Feel the belly firm towards your back as you firm the fronts of your thigh bones back, shifting more weight towards the heels even if they don't touch the mat. Is your body speaking through any sensation here? Just acknowledge. Then as you hug your hips towards your midline, balancing them, breathe in to raise your right leg up high. Exhaling, bend the right knee and rotate open at the hip, rolling the thigh bone at the hip socket a few times as if drawing circles in the air with your knee. Breathe in, breathe out through your nose, cultivating warmth in the breath. Feel that your hands are evenly rooted, both arms are equally straight. Then re-straighten the right leg with hips squared as you inhale. Contract the belly and very softly land the right foot forward inside of your right hand. Lower the back knee and untuck the toes for Anjaneyasana. Separating your legs as wide apart as your hips, firm down to your right foot and press your hands onto your front thigh, lifting your pelvic bowl upright by drawing the navel towards the spine. Let the tailbone anchor downward, right outer hip slightly draw back, and then as you press the very top of your right thigh, lift up to your sternum. Roll the fronts of your shoulder heads back, lengthen through the back of your skull and your crown. Find your spine more upright as the tailbone descends. And then try maybe sliding your right heel an inch or more forward if that feels like a appropriate stretch into the top of your left hip and thigh. Feel your frontal hip bones lifting. Breathing in, broaden the chest. Breathing out, release the shoulder blades down. 2 more breaths. Giving your groins a little awakening, that place of flow and ability to adapt, rooted in the energy center around the hips. Nice, then plant your hands on the ground and step back to downward facing dog. Feet on the floor, hips distant, spread the fingers wide. Keep the hips squared, inhale, raise the left leg behind you. As you exhale, bend that knee, turn to open at the hip, and then take a few breaths of gently circling the left leg at the hip socket. Both directions. Let your head hang. Notice your breath calm. Then inhale, straighten the left leg and re-square your hips. Engage your belly and exhale, softly land the left foot forward just inside of your left hand. Lower the right knee and untuck the toes. Separate your legs hips width and firm down through your left foot as you press your hands into your front thigh to rise up. Anjaneyasana. Now, scissor your left outer hip slightly back so you're equally pointing your hip bones forward, and then lift your frontal hip bones. Let the tailbone anchor downward. Lift up through the crown of your head. Roll the shoulders back and down. Breathing in, breathing out. You might work on sliding the left foot slightly forward, just little by little. Feel the opening in the front of your right hip and thigh. Firming down through the left heel, lifting up through the spine. 2 more breaths. Soften the eyes. Is there resistance in the face through any added tension? Nice. This time, plant your fingertips forward and step forward with your feet hips width apart, bowing in. Parallel your second toes, put at least a little bend in your knees, and reach your hands behind you to interlace. As you breathe in, lift the chest, firm the belly, hug the elbows closer together. As you breathe out, knees still bent, fold in, drop the skull, and stretch the arms up and away from your lower back. Feel the sitting bones begin to rise as the top of your head descends. Floating the shoulders away from your neck, just a couple more breaths. Keep a slight bend in your elbows as you broaden the chest. Deep breath in. Exhale. Release the hands on your legs or the ground and press into that as you inhale to rise halfway again. Exhale, fold in. Firm down through both feet. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead, rising. Catch hold of your left wrist with the right hand and begin to side stretch to the right a few breaths. Firming the left foot down deeper, lift the lower spine from your pelvis. And exhale, side bend a little more as you relax the shoulders away from your neck. Draw the belly in. Inhale, rise to center. Catch hold of the right wrist. Lift the lower spine, then side bend to the left. Rooting the right foot more heavily on the ground. Lift the lower spine, breathe in. Side bend further. Then firm the belly in. Inhale to rise, spread the arms. Exhale, bow forward, half sun salutation. Inhale, press with the fingertips, lengthen the spine forward. Exhale, fold in. Firm through the legs. Inhale, rise up, look up. Watch your palms touch in this gesture of union. Exhale, bring that to the space of your heart. Sun salutation, C. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, bow forward. We're going right into continuous flow. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Lower fingertips. Exhale, left knee steps back to Anjaneyasana. Raise the arms and take one inhale, lifting the chest. Lower to plank. Knees can be on the floor if you prefer. Exhale, shift forward and slowly come down. For Cobra, ground the feet and pelvis. Breathe in to coil your chest up. Press the ground away. Exhale to downward facing dog. There, take a full cycle of breath with the lips closed. Then inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, softly land the foot inside of your left hand. Lower the right knee, untuck the toes. Arms up as you breathe in, coiling the chest up. Circle the hands to the top of your mat. Exhale, step forward to fold. One inhale, rise all the way up, palms meet at the top. Exhale to mountain pose. Second side. Inhale, sweep the space around you. Exhale, dive in. Inhale, expand your heart forward, fingertips down. Exhale, right knee steps back. Raise the arms and chest as you inhale. Circle the hands through plank and exhale, lower, forward and down. Choose cobra or upward facing dog as you inhale. Exhale to downward dog. There, take a full cycle of breath. Then inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, step the foot lightly forward, lower the left knee. Inhale, raise your arms and coil the chest into a light back bend. Circle the fingertips to the top of the mat. Exhale, stepping forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, palms touch towards the sky. Exhale, center at your heart. Sun salutation A. Inhale, sweep the space around you like a welcoming. As you exhale, bow in. Inhale, lift your heart. Step to plank or lightly jump back, landing in chaturanga halfway down. Breathing into cobra or upward dog. Breathing out to downward facing. We're going to add on by stepping the feet together in downward facing dog. Then inhale, raise your right leg behind you. And exhale, bend the knee and turn the thigh open at the hip again. This time, inhale, tack the left hip further back. And as you exhale, slowly tap the right knee outside the right upper arm and plank. Pause, breathe in and lift the belly. Exhale, step the right foot directly between the hands. Spin the back heel down for warrior two. Aligning the right heel to the arch of your left foot, cartwheel your arms to rise up and hold for about 5 deep breaths. Listen to the quality of your breathing. Observe the sensations in your body. As you might notice any feeling or tinge of resistance, just shine a spotlight of awareness into it without any need to judge. Just be aware. Let's take one more breath in. Exhale your hands to the ground and plank, either a vinyasa or step straight to downward dog. Deep breath in, slow breath out. In downward dog, start with your feet touching. Then inhale, raise the left leg. Exhale, bend the knee and open at the hip. Inhale, tack the right hip further back. Exhale, touch left knee to left outer upper arm and plank. Pause there, breathe in, lift the belly. Exhale, step left foot directly between the hands. Spin the right heel down, align left heel to arch of right foot, then cartwheel the arms to rise up to warrior two. 5 deep breaths. As you steady your gaze, either just beyond the left hand or inward with eyes closed, tune in. Let the pause allow deeper awareness. Deep inhale. Exhale, cartwheel your hands to plank pose. Either take a cat-cow, vinyasa, or neither of it. We'll meet in downward facing dog. As you land back in that home base of downward dog, tune into your breathing and slow it down. We're going to venture back into flowing through sun salutation B, one breath, each posture. Bend your knees, look in front of your hands. At the end of your exhalation, walk or lightly float to the top of your mat. Feet touching in a forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold in. Sweep the arms. Inhale, rise tall. Exhale the hands together at your heart. So one round, Surya Namaskar B, a salutation with knees touching. Inhale, sit back towards your heels in chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift the chest in half fold. Step or float back into your vinyasa. Breathing in to lift the heart. Breathing out to lift the hips, downward dog. From there, inhale, raise the right leg. Exhale, step the foot just inside the right hand, feet hips width, drop the back heel. Face forward, inhale, rise to warrior one. Then exhale, lower into your vinyasa. Feel free to change up this part as you need. from downward dog. Inhale, raise the left leg. Exhale the foot inside of the left hand, feet hips width, drop the back heel. Inhale to rise to warrior one. Exhale to lower flow or no flow, meeting in downward dog. As you reattune to your breath, to your body, to the energy that you're exerting and releasing, what's present? Bending your knees, look ahead of your hands. At the end of your exhalation, lightly land feet touching at the top. Breathe in, lift the heart forward. Breathe out to fold. With knees bent, prepare to twist in chair. Joining your hands at your heart, lift the heart and draw your weight towards the heels. As you breathe out, hug your legs towards your midline, but start to twist at your waistline to your right. Inhale, anchor the tailbone low behind you. Lengthen the spine. Exhale, keep turning the rib cage. You might use the left elbow or arm as a leverage against the right leg. You might plant your hands on the ground if you're looking for a revolved arm balance in crow. Whatever variation. Couple more deep breaths. Feeling any shift in the breathing? Can you allow yourself to be present with whatever sometimes discomfort comes up? Come back to chair pose. Inhale, your arms overhead. Exhale to rise, placing your left hand on your heart, your right hand in your lower belly. Ground to your toes spread and take a deep breath. Exhale to your lips. One more inhale. Out through the mouth. As you close the lips, breathing through the nose, bend your knees to touch. Inhale to chair pose. Joining your hands at your waistline, start to twist to your left. Let it be a process. There's no rush to get anywhere particular. Feel into what you're working through. Maybe use the leverage of the right arm, maybe not. How does your practice need to differ today than the last time? Maybe there's an arm balance in the practice, maybe there's not. Last 2 breaths. Sink your hips, raise your arms, inhale chair. And exhale to rise up. So we're gonna play with balance right away here with your feet touching, nice and warm. Bring your left hand to your left hip. Now feel your 2 hip bones facing forward and try to be aware of keeping them both facing forward. Feel your tailbone anchoring down towards your inner left heel. How that causes a little lift in the belly as the belly firms in. Be aware of that, using that to contain your center, to connect to it. Now as you turn the right palm up, bring your right elbow just beside your right waist and bend your right knee close to the left knee. Flex your right foot or point it, just make sure it's engaged, and anchor the tailbone down again. Draw the lower belly in. Now with the right hand, reach for, if you can, the inside of your right ankle or foot. That's not working out. Maybe it's the outer foot or your leg, whatever you can reach, or strap around the top of the foot. Now re-anchor the tailbone. Start to kick the right leg towards straight while pulling your foot. Play with those counter forces as you coil your chest up and raise the left arm up. Maybe the thumb and index come to touch. Breathe, float the heart space open. Breathe out, feel containing in your center, right hip forward, tailbone towards inner left heel. Last 3 breaths. This is a heart opening posture. Now, slow and steady as we transition. Look at the ground in front of your left foot. Bend the left knee if necessary. Place your left fingertips upper left corner from your left pinky toe. Flex the right foot and begin to straighten the right leg all the way towards the rear of your mat so that it's parallel to the floor. Half moon. Right hand can be on right hip. It can be up towards the sky. Notice how your left leg is completely turned out so your left knee and middle toe are pointing down the center line of your mat towards the front. Your right knee, your right toe are slightly turned towards the ground. Take another breath or a few. Half moon pose. Now slow transition as much as you can to warrior two, bending the left knee. Step the right foot all the way to the rear of your mat. Yeah, nice landing. Align your left heel to the arch of your right foot. Feel how your left outer hip is rotating slightly underneath your body so that the tailbone anchors downward. Feel how your right thigh bone is rotating inward, causing your right toes to slightly face the front of your mat as you firm the top of the right thigh back. Spine upright, arms wide open. Keep the bend in your left knee for side angle pose. Draw your hips towards the rear of your mat and reach your left hand past your left knee, placing it on your left thigh or forearm to thigh, or left arm inside of left leg, fingertips on the ground or block, where you could continue to lengthen this left underside of your torso as you turn out the left leg. Now use your leg to press against with your hand or arm as you lift out of it. So rooting down to rise from that left leg, turn your chest open slightly towards the sky. There's an option here to open the front of your right shoulder by taking that right arm behind you, either onto your lower back or catching hold of the top of the left thigh, turning the chest slightly towards the ceiling. Now feel the space in your neck. Take a moment to scan your body. Allowing yourself a pause to breathe through perhaps any resistance you start to feel coming up. One last breath. From down to your feet, we're going to reverse this into peaceful warrior by rising up, flipping the left palm up, and sweeping it overhead towards the rear of your mat. Right hand lightly lands on the right leg. Feel your left knee continuing to point forward rather than buckling into the right. Breathe into the left side of your lungs a little more deeply. Now keep sweeping your left arm back and straighten the left leg so you're now in reverse triangle. Engage the fronts of your thighs as if trying to lift your kneecaps. Then rise up for triangle. Sweep your hips towards the rear of your mat again and reach the left hand past your left knee, lowering it onto your left leg or just to the left side of your leg as you turn the chest open to the right and slightly up towards the sky. You might be gazing towards your right thumb if it feels okay on your neck. Shoulder blades down the back, both hips drawing towards the rear of your mat. Spine lengthening towards the front of your mat. Feel how you're expanding through all these lines of energy physically and beyond. We've got 2 more breaths here in Utthita Trikonasana. Now look at the floor. Lower your 2 hands. Either come down to hands and knees, maybe rest in child's pose, or flow in your own way through a vinyasa. In a few breaths, we'll meet in downward facing dog. If you feel that your body's accumulating a little bit too much heat, join me in a lion's breath. Deep inhale. Stick out your tongue, open the eyes and mouth wide, exhale. The cross eyes, that's done also traditionally, so maybe one more time. Inhale. Eyes crossed, tongue out, let it go. Then in downward facing dog, bend your knees, Look in front of your hands. At the end of your exhale, lightly land your feet to touch at the top. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Root down through your feet. Inhale, rise up, palms touch. Exhale, join your hands at your heart. Breathe in. Breathe out through your nose. Now steady your gaze just ahead and place your right hand on your right hip. Feel your two hip bones facing forward, your navel drawing in and up, your tailbone anchoring down towards your inner right heel. Turn your left palm to face up with your left elbow touching your left waist. And then as you bend your left knee close to the right knee, point or flex your left foot. Just don't let it be limp. Bring your knees together, drop the tailbone down, draw the lower belly in and up. Breathe. Begin to kick your left leg straight towards behind you as you pull the leg while keeping the hips facing forward, raising the right arm, coiling your chest up. Now remember in Cobra and Upward Dog that you arch mostly from right under your shoulder blades, so focus on that and lengthening the lower back. Breathe in, shoulders releasing down as you breathe out. 2 more breaths in dancer pose. Natarajasana. Now look at the floor just in front of your right foot as we transition. You might bend the right knee in order to reach the right fingertips to the ground, upper right corner from your right pinky toe. Flexing the left foot, straighten the left leg behind you, parallel to the floor. And left hand can either be on left hip or up towards the ceiling. Breathe and expand. Feel the support of the ground you're pressing against through the 4 corners of your right foot. Feel the support of the structure of your body and your muscular energy supporting that. Feel the breath establishing the feeling of balance. From Ardha Chandrasana to Warrior 2, take your time bending your right knee and softly stepping the left foot to the rear of your mat with the arms wide open. Yeah, take a few breaths to land. Right heel intersecting arch of left foot. Left leg slightly turned inward to face the front of the mat. Right leg completely turned out to face the front. Pelvis upright, spine tall. Let's move into side angle pose. Slide your hips towards the back edge of your mat and reach the right hand past your right knee, either setting it on your right thigh or forearm to thigh, or right arm inside a leg, fingertips to the ground or a block. Now decide how high or low to place that right hand, where you could continue to roll this right outer hip underneath your body, direct your tailbone towards your inner left heel, and lengthen both left and right sides of your torso and neck while turning the chest slightly towards the sky. How's your breathing? Though we're practicing being in what sometimes may be discomfort, perhaps staying a little longer, find a way to do that that's sustainable, not self-harming, but in a compassionate manner, though challenge may exist. Left arm behind your back, or catch the top of the right thigh. About 3 more breaths here. In Uttita Parshva Konasana. Drawing the navel in towards the spine will offer the lower back some support too. Now as you firm down through both feet, inhale, rise up to flip the right palm overhead into Peaceful Warrior, a reverse version. Left hand lightly lands on the left leg. Continue to turn out your right leg so the right knee does not buckle into your left. Feel the breath. Direct it a little more into the right side of your lungs. Keep leaning towards the rear of your mat and straighten your right leg. Engage the fronts of your thighs by rooting into the ground and lifting. Triangle pose, rise up, arms open. Slide your hips towards the rear edge of your mat while reaching the right hand past your right knee before lowering it onto your right leg or just to the right side of your leg, directly under your two shoulders stacked. How is your breath? Knowing when there's resistance in the breath offers a chance to play with adjusting the pose as well, making it more accessible, yet working through challenge, finding that balance. Let's take 2 more breaths here in Utthita Trikonasana. Look down at your right foot, cartwheel your hands. Whether you'd like to flow or take rest, let's meet in a few breaths in downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, bring your feet together to touch. Spread your fingers wide and flat. Lift the shoulders away from the neck and rotate the triceps towards the mat. With the belly engaged, breathe in and float forward to plank pose. Moving into side plank, you have the option of lowering the left knee and just keeping the right leg straight as you raise the right arm. Otherwise, roll onto the outside edge of your left foot, flex both of your feet stacked. Think of mountain pose, where you're pressing into something with the soles of both feet and lengthening your tailbone actively towards your inner heels, as the crown of your head actively lengthens towards the front edge of your mat. Feel the arms stack, left hip rising away from the mat. Last 2 breaths. Hug in your front ribs and sweep the right arm overhead towards the front. Slowly transition back to plank, then downward facing dog. Deep inhale, maybe flutter the lips for release. Deep breath in. Any releasing breath out. Now with steady breathing through the nose, bring your feet to touch in downward dog. Spread the fingers flat. Rotate the triceps towards the mat. Stabilize your shoulder blades onto your upper back. As the belly firms, breathe into plank pose, shoulders right over wrists. Either lower the right knee, pivot the left heel down for a modified version, or roll to the outer edge of the right foot, stack both feet, flex both feet, and raise the left arm, stacking both wrists and shoulders. Now notice the stacking of major joints in the body is what creates stability as you hug the muscles around the bones, lifting the right hip away from the floor, hugging your front ribs towards your back, softening the shoulders away from the neck. 2 more breaths. Feel the endurance of your mind. Left arm overhead, 2 hands down, downward facing dog. Slowly walk your hands back to meet your feet at the rear of your mat in a forward fold. With your feet hips width apart, parallel, let's stretch the outer wrists in Padahastasana. So here, bend your knees as much as you need, if you need, in order to lift your toes and slip your palms face up underneath the soles of your feet. Trying to get your toes to meet the inner creases of your wrists. Then breathing in, press your heart forward through the gates of your arms. Keep the length of your spine as you hinge from your hips to fold. As you're bowing, letting the head go, if you can, bend your elbows apart to help float your shoulders up away from your neck. Take a releasing breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. 1 more, half forward fold. Breathe in, lift the chest, lengthen forward. Keep shifting your weight forward as you bow even deeper. Relax the neck, maybe shake the head a few times. Slip the palms out from under. And we're already in an inversion in some sense because we're in a forward fold. Another active inversion would be downward facing dog, or lowering the forearms into dolphin pose, or coming into headstand Whether you're interlacing the fingers and making a triangular base with your forearms, or you're doing it from a wide-legged forward fold and crawling the hands back to create a tripod. So take your own version of an inversion, going upside down, reserving things like legs at the wall or shoulder stand for later, as that's a cooling form of inversion. Headstands, dolphin pose, downward dog are more heating inversions, keeping the energy up before we cool down. And whatever heating inversion you're practicing now, give yourself maybe 5 more breaths, unless you're already resting in child's pose. Deeply inhale. Through the nose, softly exhale, rebalancing the sound of your breath. We're going to move into single pigeon pose with an option for a back bend in Ekapaja Raja Tapanasana. Sounds something like that, but I'll show you. So if you prefer to lie on your back and take the supine version of single pigeon, the hip opener, feel free to lie down in that figure 4 shape instead. Right leg on top first. Otherwise, let's all start from downward facing dog to single pigeon. From downward dog, raise your right leg, bend the right knee and turn open at your right hip. Then cross the right shin in front of your pelvis onto your mat, sliding the left leg behind you to sit down. Now, if your right hip feels pretty open that you could parallel your right shin to the front edge of your mat, then support your right knee by flexing your right foot as well. Take a moment here as you tuck the left toes to place your hands alongside your hips. Picking up your pelvis, scissor your right hip back, your left hip forward, until both hips are equally facing forward. Then you'll know if there's a gap between your right glute and the ground to put something in that place to keep your hips square. Then relax the top of your left foot. Now you can either fold forward or come into the back bend, Ekapaja Raja Kapotasana. That's it. To come into the back bend. Scoot your left knee back so that when you bend it, you can lean your torso forward and not press any weight on your kneecap. Your weight is on your thigh. With the support of your hands in front of you, back stroke the left arm so you're opening the inside of the shoulder to catch the left ankle or foot. Just like we did standing, or kind of like it in dancer pose. Then try to keep drawing the left hip forward, the right hip back as you bring the left leg towards you. Using that to counterbalance while you're lifting the chest up, drawing the tailbone down. Similar principles as when we're balancing in that heart opener. Hip squared, tailbone downward, lower belly in and up. Don't want to feel any compression in the lower back. Now, if your balance feels pretty steady or you want to play with your balance here, you could start to raise the right arm, maybe thumb and index fingers touch. You could hook the top of your left foot to the crook of your left elbow, maybe coming into what some call mermaid pose, clasping the fingers overhead. Wherever you are, how's your breathing? Whatever version of this hip opener, let's take 3 last breaths. If you're lying on your back, take a moment to circle your legs open and close before switching to the opposite side. Otherwise, let's gently step back to downward facing dog. When you arrive in downward dog, you might want to give your right leg a lift, a shake, some movement at the hip, just to encourage more blood flow into that joint. Then entering side 2 in single pigeon. From downward dog, lift your left leg, bend your left knee and turn open at the hip. Then cross your left shin in front of your pelvis onto your mat, straightening the right leg behind you. Tuck the right toes. If your left hip is open that you can bring your left shin parallel to the front edge of your mat, support your left knee by flexing the foot. Then with your hands alongside your hips, pick up your hips and scissor the left hip back, the right hip forward. You might want to place something under your left glute. Then untuck the right toes and decide where you're going from here. Maybe you stay upright, fold forward, or reaching for the right leg, place the left hand in front of your left shin for support. Right hip drawing forward, navel drawing in. Lean forward enough to bend the right knee and scoot it back so you're not putting weight on the kneecap. Backstroke the right arm to open the inner shoulder and catch hold of your right foot, if you can, from the inside of the ankle. As you bring the right leg closer, lift the chest and find the back bending mostly from right under your shoulder blades. Think of lengthening the lower back as you firm the belly in. Nice. How's your breathing? You could play with your balance by lifting the left arm off the floor as if receiving something. Maybe thumb and index attach, which helps with focus. Maybe moving towards what might be called mermaid pose, hooking the top of your right foot in the crook of your right elbow and clasping the fingers overhead. Breathe in. Breathe out. Feel the stability at your center, the flow of your breath, the resilience of your body as you observe your mind. Last breath. If you're on your back, you might want to either straddle the legs straight apart lying down or come into happy baby. Otherwise, make your way back to downward facing dog, where you might enjoy lifting the left leg and giving it some movement at the hip. We'll meet lying on our stomachs. So if you're on your back, you can simply just flip over. Otherwise, maybe pass through plank to lower down. Lower your forehead to the ground for the last active back bend. Whether you choose, keeping the legs straight and free, arms free in locust pose, great for strengthening the lower back, or bending both knees and catching both outer feet in bow pose, Dhanurasana. Last one for 5 to 8, maybe even 10. Full breath. Focus on the full expansion of your lungs. Keeping your knees no wider than hips distance. Feel the strength of your legs and the use of counter forces to find support as you lift the heart up. Find a sense of freedom in opening the heart space. Decide to release. Slowly crawl your way into child's pose where we began. Perhaps reaching your arms actively forward and drawing the hips actively back to feel length in your lower back as you broaden your breath across it. Use the exhalations to feel release. Releasing the muscles alongside the lower spine with each breath out. Then rising up to all fours. Let's prepare for the other version of thread the needle to counterbalance those heart openers, opening the back area of the heart. So from hands and knees,
Have your wrists a couple inches in front of your shoulders, knees under hips. If you'd like to add an inner thigh stretch, you could step your right foot out to the right so the arch of the foot is in line with the left knee. Otherwise, just keep both knees on the ground. Raise the right arm up, then thread it under the left bent elbow and rest the right side of your head all the way down. Place something under your head if it does not easily meet the ground. Now, by flaring the right elbow up towards the ceiling, use the right fingertips to press into the earth and allow the twist to broaden across your upper back. Left palm facing up as you open into the left side of your lats and your tricep. Bringing out the spine a little more in a twist. Let's take one more breath in and a very slow breath out. Press your way up to all fours again. And if you open the right leg to its side, do the same with the left leg, pressing the sole of the foot against the earth. Raise your left arm up, then slide it under your right bent elbow. Rest the left side of your head all the way down, maybe using a prop underneath it. Allow your shoulders to release away from your neck. Feel the support of your left fingertips press the ground as you flare your left elbow up towards the sky. With the right palm facing up, feel the broadening across the back area of your heart. One more breath in through the nose and longer sigh through the mouth. Carefully press back to all fours, and let's bring your legs in front of you to sit with legs straight forward in stick pose, Dandasana. Separate your feet here hips width. You might move the flesh of the glutes aside to really feel your sitting bones firm against the earth, rebounding a lift of the spine as the belly gently presses in towards it. Flex your feet and let your inner thighs slightly rotate towards the ground as you keep the feet parallel. Then lift up your heart and soften the shoulders. Notice the naturally open space between your chin and chest. As you maintain that, as you exhale, hinge slowly from your hips. As you inhale, pause where you are, firm the sitting bones more and lengthen the spine more. Then walking your hands forward, exhale, keep hinging from your hips. Finding just the right amount of forward folding that allows openness in your throat, inviting your breath to flow. In Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold, let's take 2 more deep exhalations. And start by lifting your chest, breathing in to lift your spine. Now let's take a moment in a cooling inversion as you lie on your back. If you have a wall, you could slide up against it, lie down with your legs up the wall. You could lie on your back without a wall too, maybe resting your hands on your belly. If you have a block, you can place it under your lower back for a little more lift. Shoulder stand or plow. Let's take just half a minute of lifting your legs up to cool down. Allowing circulation to be stimulated. Digestion to be stimulated. All encouraging internal flow. Finding ease within the body.
Now, if you were in shoulder stand, you might like to counterbalance by fish pose with the legs straight forward, palms under the pelvis, face down, head tilting back. 3 or so breaths there. Anyway, start to find a comfortable position to lay your body to rest in for Shavasana. Closing your eyes. To comfortably handle this flow of life, our hearts and minds must be open and expansive enough to encompass reality. When we learn to stop resisting reality, what used to look like stressful problems can begin to look like the stepping stones of our spiritual journeys. As you feel your body at rest,
And very kindly begin to invite motion, softly waking up the body, exploring the space around it, turning over to one side, and feeling the support of the earth as you lift your body upright. Sitting for a pause of 2 minutes, and more of a mental practice as we sit in stillness, of seeing whatever thoughts come our way or surface from the layers of our unconscious beliefs. Knowing that sometimes when we sit to meditate, the experience of self may not feel as pleasant as expected. So letting go of expectations, being with whatever arises in the space, you allow yourself to watch. Simply practicing watching and releasing. Let's bring the hands together at the heart in this gesture of gratitude. Appreciating the efforts we put into our own evolution. Let's close with one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.